Hi students, this is our Wednesday video, Review 8, all about natural selection. Good luck if you're off testing or you'll be testing next week. We have a few objectives we're going to cover today. I wish you guys could help me read them, but I guess I will read them. We have this first one here to distinguish between inherited and acquired traits. That one's pretty easy, I think. The second one is predict why certain traits, structure of teeth, body structure, coloration, are more likely to offer an advantage for survival of an organism. And then cite examples of traits that provide an advantage for survival in one environment but not in other environments. And cite examples of changes in genetic traits due to natural and man-made influences. Examples would be mimicry in insects, plant hybridization to develop a specific trait, breeding of dairy cows to produce more milk. And our last one is, this one I bet you guys can do, is relate the structure of organs to an organism's ability to survive in a specific environment. A couple of examples: hollow bird bones allow them to fly. Hollow structure of hair insulates animals from hot or cold. Dense root structure allows plants to grow in compact soil. Fish fins aid fish in moving in water. So it's actually a lot on this slide, but these are the things that we'll talk about in class today. So this is an easy exercise, but just a review of the difference between inherited or acquired traits. So you guys tell me, we'll go down the list and I bet you can do it, but you tell me if it's inherited or acquired. So we'll put an I if it's something that's inherited or an A if it's acquired. So how about a tattoo? Acquired. Very good, very good. You guys can just tell me, I'll be able to hear you. How about eye color? Acquired, or sorry, wow, am I saying the wrong words here? Tattoo, acquired. Eye color, inherited, right? I have green eyes. I inherited those. How about your hand shape? Definitely inherited, right? How about your ability to play the guitar? Inherited or acquired? Great, you said acquired. Very good. Nail polish, easy, acquired. Little babies don't come out of their mommies with nail polish on. How about muscles? This was tricky. It's probably, well, it's definitely acquired, right? But there's some features of it that can be inherited too. Some people may have more of a capability of, building strong muscles, big muscles or whatever. But mostly it's acquired. I mean, you have to go get those big muscles. Bone structure, definitely inherited. Though, I guess if you're a gymnast, sometimes their bones change, and that's an acquired trait from like all of the impact they get through their gymnastics. Hair color, we'll go with natural hair color is definitely inherited. And how about your belly button shape? It's a weird question. Mostly that's acquired, simply by the way that the umbilical cord was cut when you were born. All right, cool. So that is a quick review on inherited or acquired. All right, so organisms are fit for their environment. I think you guys are really familiar with this. They have adaptations that help them survive. Organisms change to meet the challenges of life. Okay, and then changes in an environment will change traits in populations over time. So let's see here. What are life's challenges? Guys, if you imagine you were a wild animal, maybe living in, you were, a cute little bunny living out in the forest, what would be your challenges in life? You can pick whatever animal you want to be, but what things are you going to have to do to survive? Well, of course, there's food, and then just, general protection from predators that you would have to worry about. And, there's also one of the characteristics of living things is being able to reproduce. So that's also one of life's challenges. Let's talk about some of the adaptations that we see around that show some of animals like meeting the challenge that that is before them. So hummingbird, you know, obviously if you had to circle one of the characteristic parts of this hummingbird, what would it be? Probably this long nose, right? Why do they have that long nose? Well, it's adapted that way so that they can get the nectar from long flowers. So that's a neat adaptation they have that helps that hummingbird meet the challenges of its life. We talked about the long-nosed butterfly fish. That long nose gives that fish an advantage to have more of a food source, right? Because when it goes into the coral, many fishes, you know, they don't have that long nose, so they won't be able to kind of stick their nose in and get more, you know, I guess it's not really their nose, it's their mouth. Stick their mouth in and have more of a food source within the coral, like other animals would. And we see this all kinds of examples, even with just the different kind of teeth that animals have match their needs. So if you look at a nice herbivore's teeth, you'll notice that they're flat and, you know, they can grind, because what does an herbivore eat? Well, it's grass and leaves. So it has to be able to, you know, grind that grass. An omnivore, you see a mix of both types of teeth. They have some sharp teeth and some, you know, kind of more flat teeth, because they'll eat both plants and animals. Then, of course, a carnivore, they have the scary teeth, right? Very much so. So, other types of things that help animals meet the challenges of life is camouflage. Obviously, major protecting feature, right? The polar bear blends in with the snow. The many bugs look like leaves so that they kind of camouflage into a tree setting. And then also, this is not camouflage here, but as you guys probably know, the poison dart frog is anything but camouflage, but it is a sign of what? Many of you know it's poison, right? So this bright coloration tells its surroundings like, hey, don't eat me, I am poisonous. All right, another adaptation that's important to meet the challenges of life is for helping animals to find a mate. There are so many examples, and I know these are the ones that we've talked about before, but there are countless examples. The male peacock's beautiful display of flowers, and when it's mating season, they open those flowers and they kind of shake those feathers and, you know, try to attract a mate. And that brown peacock female will select her mate based on, you know, what she, you know, who has the best display. And we see all kinds of things, even little things like just like the red coloring on a bird's forehead. If it's more beautiful or bigger, I don't know what the birds find most attractive, but these traits are important. They don't just have these cool colors for nothing. It's for a reason. So the antlers on many animals are used to fight other males in a display to try to win the female mate, right? Because reproduction is huge in living, right? That's a big deal. Another, you know, looking at the other side of things, plants, right? They also have many adaptations that help them reproduce. Flowers are a big one. They smell and they are colorful to attract bees and birds that will come and then move that pollen around from flower to flower to help in fertilization, right? Because we know that most plants reproduce sexually, and so it's with the help of those birds and bees that are attracted to those flowers that help move around that pollen and aid in the movement of all those genes. Also, this one down here, there's many cool plants and things that have special mechanisms to help them disperse in the wind. And so it helps, you know, as the wind blows, these, I don't know, dandelions far away, and it will settle somewhere else and help it to grow, so that it's got like these little umbrellas. Like if you pull off one of those things and look at it, it's got this cool structure that helps it float down and fly far away in the wind. And just kind of interesting, all of the adaptations that plants have to help them reproduce, right? Essentially, fruit, I mean, this is kind of bizarre because we eat fruit, we're humans and we eat it. It's in our fridge and in our kitchens, but fruit really exists as a way to entice, animals to eat that fruit, and then they eat it, digest it, and the seeds can often survive the digestive system. So that animal then goes to a new location, and when it has to, use the bathroom, it puts those seeds all around and it helps disperse seeds. So fruit really is a mechanism of seed dispersal as well. So that's kind of weird, but all right. So all of these adaptations, they help organisms, and we want to focus on. I have a great example. We did this in class, so perhaps you're going to remember this already. But what is natural selection? That's one of our objectives today, is talk about natural selection, and it really is exactly what it sounds like. Nature selects the species that is the most fit for the environment. So I like to use this example of fish. So let's draw a scene underwater, shall we? Oh yeah. I go outside and do sidewalk chalk with my little girl, and I draw. I'm really good at ocean scenes. So let's draw some seaweed, because that'll be an important part of our picture here. Okay, so let's draw some seaweed, and I won't draw too many things here, but let's draw some purple fish. Yeah, purple fish, and let's draw some yellow fish. And these fish are all, we'll say they're all the same species, but they are just different colors, like depending on their biological mom and dad, they're different colors of fish, but they are the same species, so they can reproduce with one another. And let's draw some green fish as well. All right, so if you guys remember this example, you will remember what's going to happen here. So I need the predator. Let me draw a shark, my best shark I can draw. Here we go. Oh, he needs a big tooth. There we go. He's mean. Yeah, you wouldn't want to be. All right, there he is. So here comes the predator. Who has the best chance for survival in this picture? Who is nature going to select? Natural selection. Who's nature going to select? Well, who has the best chance of camouflage that you see? The green fish, right? So the shark will come through and eat many of the fish, but the green fish have an advantage. So I want you to think about how this population will change over generations. Will there be more of a certain color of fish? Will there be less of other colors of fish? I hope that you guys remember from when we talked about this in class, there will absolutely be more green fish, right? If we take this same scenario, generation after generation, there will be far, far more green fish because they have had a place to hide and sort of be protected, which means that these are the ones that are surviving and reproducing, right? If they're going to survive, they're going to reproduce. If they get eaten, they're dead. So there's going to be less yellow, less purple, and they'll still be present. There'll probably still be some purple and yellow, but the green will become far more common because nature selected them. Okay, now let's say by chance that this environment changes. Say there's a local, like a nearby oil spill, and all of a sudden this seaweed turns to a kind of funny purple color, just with the oils mixing in. I don't know, I'm just making stuff up, guys. But if that's the case, now who's nature going to select now? The purple fish, right? And then you would see over the next few generations of reproducing fish, you would start to see more purple fish and perhaps less green, and still yellow is low. So this is the fish example that I asked you to write about today in your April assignment. So I know it might take a little bit of time to summarize that in words, but it will be a great thing to practice because, it's a great way to think of natural selection. So don't forget, over time, advantageous traits will naturally develop. Okay, so So the ones that are the good traits are going to become more common. Another example that's kind of unique is called mimicry. Okay, it's called mimicry, and you might see that word anyway. And it's exactly what, if you've ever know what the word mimic means. Like if you're going to mimic your sister, you're going to try to be like her, right? Or mimic your mom. So that's what a mimic is. So mimicry is exactly like this, and it's when one animal mimics the other. So, and a great example of this is the butterflies. A monarch butterfly is this pattern is a signal to birds that, hey, I'm gross. These are really, I don't know, I've never eaten one, but these monarch butterflies are really, really gross to birds. They're nasty. So is it any surprise that over time there have been other species of butterflies that have began to mimic the monarch butterfly? So this is a viceroy butterfly, and it is not yucky to birds, but it has mimicked the monarch butterfly because it's advantageous for that butterfly. So over time, perhaps these viceroy butterflies used to look different. Perhaps they used to be all orange, but there was a generation where a few of them maybe had black stripes on it. And all of a sudden, those were the ones that had an advantage because birds would pick up on that coloring and not eat them. So those were the ones to survive and reproduce. So once again, this is natural selection because nature has selected the species to survive and reproduce. We also see this exact example with frogs, those poison dart frogs I showed you earlier. There are many frogs in the rainforest that will also have bright coloring, and they're actually not poisonous, but they have developed that trait over time. Perhaps there was a mutation in one of the frogs, and that frog then survived and reproduced, and over many, many generations, you'll see more of those kinds of things that have the advantageous traits. That is natural selection. But there are many, many things that are man-made. Okay, so as humans, we are engineers, we are scientists, and we have made lots of advantageous man-made traits. So a couple of examples that I can think of, and you guys know this, but we breed dogs or breed horses or breed cows to make more milk, breed different types of plants to help make plants grow, like corn, for example. The corn that you and I eat, like sweet corn from the garden, corn many hundreds and hundreds of years ago did not taste that good, right? So over many, many generations, humans have made it their goal to make that sweet corn, right? And so we've crossed those plants generation after generation. It's not natural selection. That's called, man-made selection. But other examples of things that humans have been able to do and develop is freeze-resistant strawberries, which is great because you plant strawberries in the springtime, and if the crops freeze, then it's over, So that's a big thing for farmers. Delayed ripening in tomatoes so that you can pick a tomato green and then it will ripen like in the store. Bigger produce, and you see that. If any of you guys have strawberry patches at your home, you know that your strawberries that you pick are like this big. But if you go to the grocery store and buy strawberries, they're kind of like grossly large, right? So, but that has been man-made, right? And then produce that just lasts longer. But a lot of these things are awesome. Anyway, we talked about this already. Selective breeding is when we breed dogs or horses or different animals to get a desirable trait. We're always looking for something, right? We're selectively breeding. This is not natural selection. This is selective, like man-made. Over time, humans have developed a lot of really cool, what we call genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. And you've probably seen that like put on your food products, you know. A lot of people like to purchase things that are non-GMO, which means that none of the components were made, like were not genetically modified. They just want the strawberry with the actual size that it should be, you know. But GMOs, they have been able to do very, very cool things, including some of the things I already told you about, the freeze-resistant strawberries. A couple of funny examples, you know, how do you think we could possibly get a 1,400-pound pumpkin? Probably a GMO, right? Genetically modified. Or a 6-inch wide tomato. I mean, that's huge. Definitely genetically modified. Or maybe a 200-pound watermelon. Some definite genetic engineering going on here, right? But kind of cool. So, guys, we've covered all of our objectives today. You can look over these, but we basically have just talked all about natural selection. Today you just have 2 questions, 23 and 24, that I wanted you to complete on your April assignment. Don't forget this assignment is due Friday. This is a big one because it was your only assignment for the whole month of April. So make sure you're going to get that in. You can email me pictures of the assignment. You can email me a Word document. You can just put the answers in an email. And if you have another idea of how to send it to me, let me know. But we are done today. I would love for you to get the extra credit for watching this video. So sadly, I cannot put a link here you can fill out. So you're going to have to maybe pause this and go to a web browser and put this in the http:// tinyurl.com/Belliston-survey 16-17. Put in that it is the unit and lesson is review 8 and the secret word is GMO, and I will get you guys some extra credit. So thanks for watching. Bye-bye.